What is going on? I am the Ink Otaku, and today we're talking about the Soul Society, the sneak entry arc for Bleach. Before we get started though, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now that Bleach is going to Disney Plus for the most part. I think for 100% sure it is. You know, at first I thought it was a joke. A buddy sent me a video, dude already making fun of it. I thought it was a joke, but apparently it's not. So at first, I was still a little booty hurt about it, but I was thinking about it as long as, because it's supposed to be uncensored. So, and they're not the ones that are making it, so they're just got the streaming rights to it as far as I know. So as long as they leave it uncensored, I don't particularly have a problem with it. I assume that Disney sees that anime and manga and all that is becoming, like, my personal opinion, I think anime and manga and all that is like at the peak at just about to become mainstream. So I obviously think that they see that it's super popular now and people are watching it and reading it, so I assume that's why they're doing it. But other than that, let's get into the sneak, which they're not very sneaky. They get caught a bunch already, but let's get into the sneak. Passing through the portal that Urahara set up for them, the group reaches the Soul Society and ends up in the Rukon district. Yoriichi says that they have to make it into the Serite, which is where the Soul Reapers live. Ichigo starts heading in the direction of the Serite, and when he does, a giant wall comes down and he is confronted by Jiranbo, one of the 4 guards of the gates. Ichigo is able to best him, and he lifts the gate, but is intercepted by the captain of the 3rd squad, Gin Ichimaru. Gin cuts Jidanbo's arm, making him drop the gate somewhat, and then he knocks all of them back into the Rukon district. After meeting the town folks and healing Jidanbo's arm, the group meets Ganju. He starts a fight with Ichigo because he says he hates Soul Reapers, and then eventually just hightails it out of there. After talking to the town elder who tells him about Kukaku, who can help them get into the Serite, they get to a ridiculous ass looking building and meet Kukaku. She says while she doesn't trust him, she'll help them because she also knows Yoriichi, as long as this helper can go. Turns out this helper is Ganju, her brother. She's going to use her cannon to shoot them into the Serite. But in order to get there, they need to use Kido to make the ball for the cannonball. Unfortunately, Ichigo and the others can't use Kido and have to be taught. In the Serite, there's an emergency meeting for all the captains being held. We get to see all the captains of the Soul Reapers except for Captain of the 13th. They are there to talk about how Gin let the intruders escape. They are interrupted by an announcement that the intruders have gotten into the Serite, and the captain of the 11th, Kenpachi, runs to intercept them. The rest of the captains are ordered to report to their stations. Before getting shot out of the cannon though, we learn that Gukaku and Kukaku's brother was a Soul Reaper and he was killed by another Soul Reaper, reason for their hatred. Moving on though, Ichigo and the group get shot out of the cannon and make their way into the Serite. Everyone is separated, Chad is by himself, Orihime with Uryu, Ichigo with Ganju, and Yoriichi by herself. Ichigo and Ganju run into Ikaku and Yumichika. Ganju runs away and Yumichika makes chase while Ichigo stays to fight Ikaku. Ikaku releases his Shikai but is still bested by Ichigo, barely. After regaining consciousness, he tells Ichigo where Ruki is being held and to watch out for his captain. Uryu and Orihime run into Jirobo and Uryu easily beats him, making him lose his spiritual powers. Ichigo and Ganju meet back up, and they try and take a Soul Reaper named Yamada hostage, but the other Soul Reapers don't care, and the two run away, accidentally taking Yamada with them. Luckily, Yamada is willing to help them, knowing the secret way to get to the tower where Ruki is being held. Showing them the way, the 3 run into Renji, and they start to fight again. This time though, Renji lets it be known that when a lieutenant or higher goes into the human world, they have limited powers, and in the Soul Society, he's about 5 times stronger. It didn't help, because Ichigo still beats him, and then goes into Renji's backstory about how him and Rukia were both in the Rukon district, grew up friends, then became Soul Reapers, and how Rukia was adopted by the Kuchiki clan. After defeating Renji, they run as some Soul Reapers are coming, and see Renji defeated. The 3 go back underground so Ichigo can heal. At the order of Byakuya, Renji is thrown into a cell and is under arrest. Aizen's lieutenant, Momo, comes to talk to him about the situation and ends up falling asleep in his room. She wakes to find him not there. She is late for a meeting, and then when she leaves, she finds Aizen's dead body stuck to a wall with a Zanpakuto in it. She screams, and a couple other lieutenants come to see what happened, and they are just as shocked. Then Gin appears, and an enraged Momo starts to attack him, thinking he is responsible. His lieutenant, Kira, intervenes, and they intend to start fighting, but the captain of the 10th, Toshiro, shows up and stops them and puts them both under arrest. Now let's check in on Chad, who besides Yoruichi has had not that hard of a time until he runs into captain of the 8th, Shunsui, and he easily beats Chad and puts him in jail. That same day, Ichigo, Ganju, and Yamada start to make their way to where Rukia is being held. Unfortunately, they run into Kenpachi, and he has been itching to fight Ichigo. At first, Ichigo isn't able to make a scratch on Kenpachi, but after some back and forth, that changes. Ichigo tells him to release his Zanpakuto, but Kenpachi says he doesn't have a release, and this is its true form. With no effort at all, Kenpachi is able to break Ichigo's Zanpakuto, stabbing him in the chest. Time seems to stop, and Zangetsu appears before him. He fights a manifestation of himself to prove he's worthy of Zangetsu's power. Time begins again, and Ichigo comes back with a vengeance, landing blow after blow. Eventually, they have one final clash, both of them dealing a massive blow to one another. They both fall to the ground, and the fight is over. Ichigo wakes to see he's been taken to a secret location by Yoruichi, and his wounds have been tended to. This is where Ichigo finds out that Yoruichi is actually a woman. With Ganju and Yamada, who have moved on, they reach where Rukia is, and this is where you find out that Rukia is the one who killed Ganju's brother. As they are set to make a run for it, Byakuya shows up, and Ganju tries to fight him, but is no match for Byakuya. Then Captain of the 13th, Jushiro, shows up and stops Byakuya just as he's about to attack Yamada and Rukia. Then Ichigo shows up and is about to fight Byakuya, and then Yoruichi shows up and stops both of them. Alright, and that is the sneak part of the Soul Society. Not many. When I was doing this, when I did Darwin's game, I was like, oh, there's like these huge differences. And then Toriko, the only difference was the last arc that I did. But I'm like, there's not many differences. But I'm not disappointed, but there's just not, I'm like that they follow the manga. But, anyway, instead, like I said, more uncensored. In the manga, Jidanbo's whole arm gets cut off by Gin. Oh, damn it, stupid thing. And then, this her healing it, she just heals this little scratch in the anime, so it's not like, but she is able to heal his whole arm back together. And then Kukaku, is missing an arm, but in the anime she has a little prosthetic, but in the manga she doesn't, which I didn't really even notice before when I read it. And then this is just a cool panel of the manga version of when you first see all the captains. I was just trying to put stuff in there because it didn't really have any major differences. And then Renji when they first fight again when they're in the Soul Society. But other than that, there's not anything else. My only thing is, like, when I was rewatching it, I don't know if you have read the manga or not. I haven't read the new arc that's coming out. I didn't get a chance to read the Blood War arc yet, and I don't really want to, seeing as the new season's coming out. But when Ichigo meets when he meets Zangetsu and then his, like, hollow self, it goes into like what Zangetsu, without spoiler-ish, spoiling it, he goes into what Zangetsu really is in this new arc, which I didn't even know, but like, I want to know if he planned it, the creator planned it out like this far ahead, because you go like 300 chapters, or is it like 300, but more than 400, yeah, it's like, you go like 300 plus chapters in, and then you find out what Zangetsu really is, and what that hollow guy really is, and I was like, but, regardless, so I wonder if he knew what I wonder if he already had the whole thing in his head, but, that is it for the sneak. Next we're gonna get to the rescue. Otaku out.